Good morning. Let's see. This microphone's kind of in my way, honestly. One sec. Let's see. Let's turn it this way. No. Let's go this way with it. And I need to dial up the ISO. One sec. All right, here we go. Let's see, I should probably put that there. Alright. I keep saying alright. I've said alright like a billion times now. Excuse me. Sorry, that was a big yawn. Mariki? Hello, Mariki. I think that's how you say your name. Apologies if I mispronounce it. What am I doing? I'm working. I'm in the office. You know what I mean? That's why I always call these streams office hours, is because I work and then I chat. How are you doing? What are you doing? I guess is the better question, right? I'm also trying to get caffeinated at the moment. That's the other thing I try to do. Let's see, I'm just back from school and I'm watching you. Nice, very cool. Well, how was school? Now I sound like I'm talking to my kids. Oh, you're from Belgium? Very cool. I had a client. So back in the day, I was a personal trainer, and I had a client that was from Belgium. Her name was Axel Showers, I think was her name. Is how you say her name. She was an engineer, but she was working for a company that manufactured solar panels, and she had gotten like transferred to the Midwest for work. I'd like to go to Belgium someday though. After talking to her, I trained her for like almost like 2 or 3 years. Louis the Goat. Hello, Louis the Goat. Nice username, buddy. School was good. I had dispensation. What's dispensation? I don't know what that means. Lewis, I'm from Ireland. Oh, very cool. I'd like to. That's actually like #1 on my wife and I's travel list is Ireland. Oh man, your dog died. That's terrible. My family actually just put down. It wasn't mine and my wife's dog, but my mom's dog. We just had to put her down. Her name was Molly. It was a very sad day. Whenever you have to say goodbye to a pet. So I feel for you, man. Marika, you can leave school earlier because the teacher was sick? That's a thing? They do not do that in the US. It does not work like that here. If your teacher gets sick, they just have to find somebody to fill in. Man, I'm sorry about that. It's really sad when you have to say goodbye to an animal. I actually have a dachshund. You can't see him, but he's back there, and he's getting to be an old man. And I'll be sad the day that we have to say goodbye to him. You know, I mean, you know it's coming. It's a part of life, but still, nonetheless, always a sad deal. Always a sad deal. But I'm hoping your day gets better. I'm hoping your week gets better. Excuse me. What are you doing? I'm working. Liz. I go. I'm a 32-year-old dad of 2. I live in Kansas, in the United States, and I mostly make content around programming and coding these days. And I usually stream like this like once a day just to hang out and chat with people who are subscribed to my channel or might want to be subscribed to my channel. So it's just a little bit of more of a chat-driven stream than doing any actual kind of programming or coding. Mariki, do you know Python programming? I do know how to write Python. I'm not a big Python fan. Like if I start a project today, or if I was to start a project today, I wouldn't pick doing it in Python if I had other alternatives. Unless I absolutely had to do it in Python. And that isn't like a knock on Python. It's something that happens as you learn more and more programming language. You sort of develop a preference. See you later, Lewis. Thanks for stopping by, man. Sorry about your dog. I hope Hope your day and hope your week gets better. Let's see. Hello, Mark Shulkerbox. What are you doing? My name is not Mark Shulkerbox. Hello, Sappy. How are you doing? I'm just working, man. Trying to get my Monday off to a good start. Get the week off to a productive start, you know? It's the normal things. Hello, Trend Live. Good morning to you too, sir. Hope you're doing well. Mariki, what programming language do you recommend to learn as first language? Mariki, I always recommend JavaScript. Actually, here, if you type in my chat, if you type learn to code, Nightbot should post a link. But I always recommend JavaScript as being a good place to start. I think web development and learning JavaScript is a great place to enter your programming journey. And that's primarily because JavaScript is just super friendly. It's super friendly to learn. It's super flexible. Doesn't require static typing. It's interpreted language. It runs on the server, runs on the client. Once you learn it, you can basically build whatever you want. So that's where I usually recommend people to start. And I usually tell people to go to freecodecamp.org. That's the place to get started. Yeah, for sure. If you're interested in learning to code, I think that's where you should start. Not that everybody has to learn how to code, but quiet stream today. None of my normal people are here either. Did I posted in Discord, didn't I? It's kind of weird. I've gotten used to people showing up for my streams. Now I'm returning to the way it used to be, which is just me live in a room talking to myself. That's pretty funny. Hello, Artwork Studios. I should be asleep right now. What are you doing up, man? How are you doing? Good to see you. I definitely don't want to keep you up. If you should be asleep, you should... You should get your sleep, you know what I mean? Trend Live. Any recommendation for a DevOps engineer to learn and understand most logic applications and front-end tools? I just want some skills around it. If there is bug comes during build and unit test. I just want to have some skills around it. If there is a bug comes during build unit test. Let's see. What would be my advice? So you're a DevOps person, so you know a lot about the infra, a lot about the networking, right? But you don't, when the rubber kind of meets the road with the application side, that's where you feel like your knowledge falls off. My advice would be to build some stuff yourself, right? That will help for sure. Like if you've never built a front end, right? Definitely try to build a front end. Like if you've never built just something as simple as like a web page with a form, and that form posts data back to a server and then writes that data somewhere. Like if you've never built something like that, even that simple, build that. It could be like a contact form, right? Or some sort of submission form where someone enters their name and their email address, they post it to a server, and you write that to a SQLite database, right? That will just help give you like some basic knowledge of understanding of what it's like to build an app from a web dev perspective. But probably for you, what's more valuable is to understand like the application that you help support as a DevOps engineer. So you might spend some time actually, if you can, I don't know what your organization's policies around that stuff is, but if you can get access to your guys' code base, start actually trying to read the source code and understand the source code, maybe even pull the source code down on your own machine and run it and build it and try to get it set up locally so that you can start poking around. That's probably where I would start. Jerome. Hello, Jerome. How are you? Artwork Studios, procrastinating to sleep. I've never heard anybody say they're procrastinating to go to sleep. Confused cat. You look like a good example. A good example of what? Artwork Studios. In fact, I'm procrastinating to procrastinate. Nice. Confused cat. So my friend recently got that CS50 Python certificate. I'm planning on learning Python. Is it a good source to learn from? And is that certificate of any value? Confused cat. I don't know if the certificate is of any value. Like, I don't know if that really is going to mean anything to anybody, right? Especially if you're talking to like people who have computer science degrees or higher level degrees. They probably are going to look at that certificate and be like, that's nice, right? But like, I'm not going to pay you more dollars an hour because you have it. As far as it being a good source to learn from, yes, for sure. CS50, all of CS50's material is wonderful. The work that those guys do over there is fantastic. I think even if people aren't interested in learning to code, people should just go watch David Malan deliver lectures in CS50, because that's what a teacher, that's what a lecturer, that's what a professor should be like. Like, I dare anybody to sit through his lectures and not be excited about what he's teaching, even if you don't understand some of it. But yeah, I couldn't think more highly of CS50. Trend Live, what programming language do you recommend? Because I deploy many different applications like PHP, Node, JS, Java, React, and Python. If you don't know any programming language, then I would recommend JavaScript. I think that's a good place to start with. If you're looking for something that's a little bit more, maybe something that's a little bit more performance oriented, or something that's a little bit more, something that's statically typed, right? I would say like JavaScript and C# are really great places to start. I think if after you learn JavaScript, you'll inevitably want to learn TypeScript, because it's just a better developer experience. But that's probably where I would start, is C#, JavaScript, TypeScript. That's where I started. I think Python's good to know just from a utility perspective. Largely the best language is just very contextual to what you want to do, right? Any language will really do. But if you start talking about like, oh, I want to work in ML and AI stuff, or I want to do web dev stuff, or I want to do embedded systems, that's where it's like, okay, well then you're gonna see it gets a little bit more specific on what you need to learn, right? Or what you have to learn. Confused cat. Oh, I'm a computer engineering student as well. Nice, dude. Well, I hope the computer I would say your computer engineering degree is going to be far more valuable than any CS50 certificate you earn. Artwork Studios. Is it just me, or does all non-coders only know C++ and Unreal? I don't know. I don't know if I would say anybody who knows C++ is a non-coder. Confused cat. JavaScript for a beginner. Oh man, the horrors. You think? I don't know. I'm of the opinion JavaScript's a great first language. Yeah, that's my very, very strong opinion. I think it's a great way for people to get introduced to programming. You can build whatever you want in it. Once you know it, you can run code that runs on the server, runs in the client. You can build something that's a full stack application. And anything you learn, a lot of the things you learn while learning JavaScript are going to help you learn any other language you pick up down the line or want to pick up down the line. I know a lot of people say like, oh, people should learn C as their first language because they need to understand manual memory management. I think there's the very real possibility that a lot of people who maybe started to try to learn how to code or write programs and started with C may have just given up altogether on it. So, because, C is not an easy thing. Artwork Studios only if you use async. Trend Live, thanks so much for your advice. Of course, man, anytime. Happy to. I don't know how useful my advice is, right? But always happy to offer it. Shaitan, hello Shaitan. Hello Butterscotch. How are you guys doing? Arwick says, are you at your work? I work from home. So yeah, I'm at my workplace, but I work from home. Confused guy. I started coding with C. It makes a good base for C++ and Java, but I hate the memory management of C++ and also the lack of data structures. Yeah, I've never written C, and I've never written C++, and I've never written Java. Maybe one day. Hey Steven, technically you can say I am Steve. Yeah. Yeah, or I am Steven. Rao. Yeah, almost everyone in India starts with either C or Java. Nice. Very cool. I didn't know that. Trendlife, have you ever used UTM for having VMs? No, I've not really used much for VMs. I've used what's that? There's a VM, is it VM Box? What's that? Yeah, VirtualBox. I've used Oracle VirtualBox, and that's about it. See you, Artwork Studios. Have a good evening, man. Sleep well. Butterscotch, am I the only Indian who started with Lua? I bet not. I bet there's lots of people. Someone was telling me in my YouTube comments that Lua is the language that's used in Roblox for scripting. So I'm guessing there's probably more and more developers nowadays, right, that probably will enter the workplace with their programming having begun in Lua, like just given the popularity of Roblox. Hello, Network Bib. How are you doing? Good to see you. Richie, Leo, let's self-host with Coolify, our project today. I've looked at Coolify before, and I just haven't ever taken the bite at it. I think it's more than what I need from a self-hosting perspective, Richard. Have you done it? Have you set up Coolify? It just seems like a way more bells and whistles than what I do with all the self-hosting. Like most self-hosting that I do is just I Dockerize my app, and then I build the Docker image, I push it to Docker Hub, and then I Docker run or Docker compose it up on my server. And then I just use GitHub Actions to do all the CI/CD work. I use that for the workflows and whatnot. I mean, but Coolify looks very cool. Like it looks very cool. Like if you want like a Vercel deployment experience, but on your own VPS, Coolify looks very cool. I watched a syntax video of CJ. If you guys are familiar with Coding Garden, I watched him set up Coolify and use it. It looked very cool. Butterscotch. Yeah, Lua is great for beginners. Yeah, so I've only written enough Lua to get my NeoVim configuration squared away. So I should probably go back and actually try to learn some proper Lua. Hannah said hi. Hello, Hannah. How are you? Confused cat. All right, gotta go bye. See you, confused cat. Have a good day. What's a shakin'? It's a bacon. Hello, bacon. How are you? This evening, I'm going to host. First time, actually. Never used Docker, to be honest. Yeah. So I think Coolify under the hood probably uses containers, if I had to guess. I don't know how it's all architected or what technology it uses. But if I had to guess, there's some layer of but it looks very cool, man. I would definitely I like the fact one of the things I think that is really cool about it is the fact that you can do things with webhooks without a lot of effort. You can also do free SSL certs. It'll take care of doing all the SSL certificates, which I know for a lot of people can be a pain in the ass when you're trying to get something hosted yourself and exposed publicly. So yeah, I think it's great. I'd love to hear, like, once you do it tonight, I'd love to hear kind of your experience, right? Yeah. So if you and for those who don't know, Coolify, I'll post the link for Coolify. Coolify is like your own version of Heroku or Netlify or Vercel, but it's on your own VPS, right? So if you want that type of deployment experience like Heroku and Netlify and Vercel offer, where it's sort of Git based, Git push and then it Git push main and it deploys. Yeah, you guys should look at Coolify if you're in the self-hosting world. Just subscribe to learn more from you. Thanks for answering. Of course, Trend Live. I appreciate you subscribing. That's very kind. Hannah, bye, yo. Hannah stopped in. She said hi. She said game over, and then she left. Bacon, what are we working on? Right now I'm working, and I'm just talking to you guys while I work. Shaitan, Steven, if you want to deploy full stack apps, use Koyeb. It supports Docker image via Docker Hub, gives 5 gigabytes of memory with Singapore server. Use Cloud Clever for database. They'll give 10. So I have a VPS that I host here in my house, and then I have a VPS that I have out in Oracle, in Oracle's cloud, because they have a really generous free tier, and that does enough for me at the moment. And honestly, like I said, my deployment workflows for VPS stuff is very simple. It's just it's all Docker containers, and then if the app has like external services, then I use a Docker Compose file to get everything running in a containerized stack, and that's good enough for me at the moment. Butterscotch, just use a VPS. Yeah, that's what I do. I just have singular individual virtual private servers, and I mean nothing I'm building and putting out publicly is getting enough traffic, right, to have a bunch of scale worry concerns, right? I mean, they're just I think there's a, have you guys ever heard of the KISS principle? Keep it simple, stupid. There's also a principle called YAGNI, which is you ain't gonna need it, and that's kind of how I approach the deployment process and the hosting process. I just do the minimum, right? Just enough to get it working, right? Nginx is a proxy or a reverse proxy, and then a bunch of Docker containers. Which isn't to say which isn't to say I don't want to explore new pieces of technology. It's just at the moment I'm not interested in really adding anything in there to my existing approach. I do, though, what Richard talked about with Coolify. I do want to give Coolify a try. I just haven't made time for it. There's too many technologies, man. There's too many technologies and there's too many programming languages. I can't get to them all. Got a day job and got a family, got to work out. Got too many side projects already. Oh, Shaitan, that's cool. Yeah, a lot of yeah. You'll need a credit card in a lot of cases to get a VPS somewhere. So I totally get it. But that sounds like a very cool option. Koyeb. I've never actually heard of that. Koyeb? Am I saying that right? Koyeb, maybe? Koyeb. But I'm all for you. I'm all in agreement with you about minimizing cost. Like I don't like the VPS here in my house. Obviously, I don't pay except for the electricity to run it. And the VPS in Oracle's cloud, I don't pay anything there either. It's all on their free tier. It all falls within the free tier usage. What's up, Inspire? How are you? It's going well, dude. It's going well. Yeah, it's going well. No complaints. What is there to complain about, you know? I mean, at least in my world, there's very little to complain about. Actually, I'll tell you what I did complain about yesterday. I streamed for 2 hours yesterday. I mean, my intention was to like write code and actually work on some side project stuff and be productive, but I basically spent the whole 2 hours trying to figure out a GitHub Actions workflow to deploy or publish my MCP server to npm. And it turned out my issue is there was some setting in my repos. Basically, within the repo settings for workflows, there's like a radio button you have to toggle to basically give all workflows write permissions. And so I had everything else set up correctly, but I hadn't flipped that radio button. And I spent 2 hours trying to figure that out. And then I finally admitted defeat, turned the stream off, and went to the grocery store. And then yeah, I eventually got that figured out yesterday. So the MCP server is published. It's out there for people if they want to use. Well, that's awesome, Shaitan. I'm glad you found a solution, man. Inspire. What we working on today? For work, I'm working on just manual testing. So much of button clicking the buttons. Inspire, yeah, I get it. I spent the whole day fixing my broken art setup. Sucks. Yeah, it really does suck. It sucks when you sit down to do something and you're like, this is gonna take 20 minutes tops. And then it just spirals and spirals. Yeah. That was actually my biggest resistance for not giving NeoVim a try, was because I was like, this is gonna suck up so much of my time just getting this working. And honestly, that it hasn't been that bad. I put in a lot of upfront work, but since then I haven't tried to tinker with the configuration too much. The worst part is I can't leave it until I get it. Yes, that is the worst part. It's the hyperfixation. So yesterday, I was in this hyperfixated state where like I could not figure it out, and all I wanted to do the rest of the day was sit here at the desk until I got it figured out. But I was like, look, you're a husband and you're a father, and your family needs groceries, so you've got to set this down, and you've got to go to the grocery store. That was the only thing that broke me out of my hyperfixation. But yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why when I work on stuff at night, I try to be careful about the tasks that I pick up to work on my side projects in the evening, because if I start something at 8 o'clock and I fall down a rabbit hole, I will stay up till 2, 3, 4 a.m. if that's what it takes to get it to where I want it, and then I'm useless the next day. So I kind of have to be thoughtful. I think you should spend some time learning NeoVim motions. Once you become fast, no one can stop you. Also try improving typing speed. Yeah, but like the thing there, Butterscotch, is there's only 24 hours in a day, right? So do I spend dedicated time trying to be a faster typer or to be a better Vim fooer, and then give up time building stuff and learning things? Or do I just spend time building and learning things and then through that get reps at more typing and more VimFoo? Which is, if you can't tell, I'm going to do the latter because there's just not enough time in the day to make dedicated practice for stuff like that. I totally believe you. I totally believe that I would be more productive. But I don't want to give up an hour or 2 hours or whatever a day. Or whatever time I need to allot to be better, because I'd rather use that on other things. Life's about priorities, man. It's just everything's a trade-off. Chiton, grocery store, you don't use Swiggy or Zomato or maybe food delivery apps like here in India? We did for a little bit. For a little bit, we used Walmart's grocery delivery service. And then, I don't know, a couple years ago, yeah, it would have been 2 years ago when my wife started working. My wife was doing all the grocery shopping until she decided to go back to work. And when she went back to work, I said that I would take it over. And then when I took it over, I stopped doing the delivery thing and I just started going to the grocery store. I don't know why I did that. It was probably one day I just forgot to do the delivery in time, and so I just went to the grocery store instead of getting it delivered, and then I just stuck with doing that. Yeah, while building a project. Yeah, that's like, it's gotta, Butterscotch, getting better at Vim has to be like a secondary order effect from building something, and the building thing still is the most important thing, not the Vim fooing. So it's got to be kind of a second order effect. But I plan to write code for a long time, and I plan to use Vim motions for the remainder of my coding life. So if you figure I have another, hopefully, God willing, my hands stay healthy, right? I've got at least another, hopefully, 30 years on this planet, right? I think the average age of the U.S. adult is like, for the U.S. male, is like 72. Average U.S. male lifespan. So the average U.S. male lifespan, according to Google, is 77 years, and I'm 32. So that means I have 77 minus 32, 45. So I have 45 more years of coding and programming. And so hopefully in another 20 or 30 years, I'll be a much better VimFoo user. You got to think long term, you know? You got to think on a long time scale. Life is a marathon. It is not a race. It's kind of crazy to think about that, though. Like, what will life be like in 45 years? Where will I be in 45 years? Where will my kids be in 45 years? What will I be doing for work in 45 years? Inspire. I think going to get groceries acts as a nice refresher. Yeah, and actually that is something I do usually enjoy, going to get groceries. I do enjoy the hour. Like, it's usually about an hour of my time on the weekends, and it's just nice to get out of the house. I don't get out of my house very much because I work from home. So there will be days on end where the only time I leave my house is to go outside for a walk. Um, so having an excuse to get out of the house is kind of a nice thing. Have a final tomorrow. Hopefully it doesn't go bad. Oh, you'll do awesome, Inspire. You're going to crush your final, man. I'll be rooting for you. Chatan, drink coffee for refresh, because I think once you leave, you'll leave your PC while thinking or implementing logic. It will become a mess when you come back to it again. I have experienced it. I honestly, Chatan, I actually, whenever I get to a particular tricky problem from a coding perspective, sometimes I won't work on that thing for a few days, but the whole time during that few days, like, I'm ruminating on the problem. Like, I'm talking to Chat GPT about it, or I'm talking to Gemini and I'm thinking through it. And then once I get more clarity, sometimes I'll sit down then and do the coding. I think there's value to, like, not trying to force yourself to speed run a problem. Like, there's value in, like, I've got this really difficult thing I want to do. I'm not sure how to do it, or maybe it's the first time I've ever done it. I think there's value in stepping away, going for a walk, sleeping. You know, I think there's value to that stuff sometimes. But again, everyone's workflow is different. I get it. Some people like to lock it. Like, I heard Tim Sweeney. He was on Lex Friedman's podcast, and he was talking about how so, like, two of the things he wrote that were very impactful for Unreal Engine, he just sat down and did like a 30-hour coding session to figure it out. It's like, I don't think I could do 30 hours in a chair coding ever. Bill Gates talks about that too. Bill Gates talks about, like, how he, in the early days of Windows or Microsoft, he would, like, fall asleep with his head on his keyboard, and then he would wake up and immediately start writing code again. I don't know. That's just not me. That's not me. Maybe I'm just not a 10x dev. Hello, Network Bib. How are you doing? Yeah, Inspire. I agree. It's definitely very individualistic, right? Like, what's the right approach to your work? But for me, walking, going outside, getting sunshine, that is very helpful. I try to do that 2 or 3 times a day. See a Network Bib. I think Network Bib just likes to jump in and out of people's Streams. That dude, he shows up and comes in and out of streams like 2 or 3 times, but he always tells me when he's here and when he's leaving. Shaitan, I'm 20. At 45, I would just marry the woman I love, build a house at a modern seashore area, or maybe a flat, sleep under Aurora Borealis, watch crescent moon while sleeping with her and my pet, which certainly won't happen. Don't say it won't happen, man. You got to manifest that stuff. I feel like all those goals sound like wonderful goals in the next 25 years of your life. And yeah, man, those are wonderful. Butterscotch, I like flying through my code base. Anything that limits me or makes me slow gets me frustrated easily. Okay, that's fair, dude. Yeah, you would not like pair programming with me then. You sound a little bit like how I imagine pair programming with the Primogen is. Actually, when they did their tower defense stream last month or the month before, I can't remember exactly when that was now. But watching him pair program with other people, you could tell it just drove him absolutely insane that they did not navigate the editor the way he does and as quickly as he does. Y'all see, did you guys see Microsoft CEO and Google CEO saying that 30%, I think each one of them, or I know, I'm pretty sure Microsoft CEO said that 30% of their code is now written by AI. I can't remember what the Google guy said, but I think both of them said around about a third of the code that is written at the company is written by AI. Do y'all buy that? Do you guys think that's a real thing? I'm not sure I buy it. Inspire, always good to drop by and say hi, always encourages others. Yeah, no, I never take issue with anybody dropping by and saying what's up. Butterscotch, yeah, I can feel him. Yeah. Yeah, so we should not pair program. Lest you want to feel frustrated. Excuse me. Also, I have a meeting today at 2 o'clock from 2 to 3:30. And my kids will get home at 3:50. So I don't know if my afternoon stream is going to happen. It's probably going to be an evening stream. I actually need to make a video. I haven't made a video in like more than a week, and I've been trying to make one a week, but I need to make a video. I want to make a video about how I made that line counter for the stream. I think that'd be fun. I think people would get a kick out of that. I mean, it's not like super complex breakthrough thing, but it's something I built recently that might be fun to share with others. Butterscotch, nah, I don't buy that too. Yeah, I don't buy it, man. I don't know. I don't buy it. It seems a little bit like investor hype or rage bait. Inspire, wasn't there something like that by Zuck also? Yeah, I think Zuck said something similar too. Well, actually, I think it was Zuckerberg talking to Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft. They were like having an interview conversation, and I think Mark was the one who brought it up and asked Satya. Yeah, and I don't know. Like the specifics of that, right? There's a lot of ways he could probably frame that. Like, is it 30% of all the code that's written? Is it 30% of the code that's actually in production, right? Like, Maybe there's a way he's coming up with that figure that's actually honest. But yeah, I'm skeptical. Hello, Stefan. How are you? How you doing, man? How's life? You go gym yet? Me not go gym yet. Me want go gym though. Me go gym soon. Me go gym afternoon. Bolt, good evening. Hello, Bolt. How are you? Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having yourself a fine Monday. Or I guess it could already be... Could it already be Tuesday for you? Yeah, I guess it... Well... Oh, yeah, it could be. So someone can be 23 hours ahead of me, huh? The most you can be ahead of anyone is 23 hours. So it could already be Tuesday for some people, I guess. Chiton, 30% of AI assistants. Yeah, that may be. Maybe that's how he's getting to that 30% number. Stefan, yes, of course. Me go gym in morning. me bench smile big now. Me bench smile, but yeah, I like that. Me lift, me happy now. Bolt, it's almost Tuesday. Okay, fair enough. Nice. Chiton, me just work it out in bedroom. Yeah. That's a yeah. Maybe we should change it from we go gym to we work out. But we go gym sounds funny. We go gym. We go gym now. Inspire said 30% of bullshit. Alright, guys. Well, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go for another little walk around the block. But I appreciate you guys keeping me company for the last hour. I don't know if I'll be around this afternoon. It's not looking like I'll be around this afternoon. Because I have meetings at my normal lunchtime at 2. And those go till 3:30. And then my kids come home at 3:50. So I probably will... I'll probably be live this evening. Unfortunately. We're going to have to... I might need to move my... I might need to move my schedule around a little bit. In any event. Yep. All right, Bolt. See you, man. See you, Stefan. Sorry you guys showed up, and then I'm leaving. See you, Inspire. See you, Chiton. Hope you guys have a good day. All right, y'all. Bye. Bye.